Okay, save me a seat. I'm going to read chapter 5 and 6, but let's talk about 3 and 4. Remember, they are at lunch, and Ravi was thinking that that boy Dylan was going to come and sit with him, but he didn't. So he was sitting by himself, and he was eating out of that tin that's kind of like Tupperware. I forget what it's called, tiffin box, I think. And it's some kind of Indian food, and so he was eating that, and then he wanted to wash up afterwards, and there was no sink or anything, so he had to go to the bathroom to wash up. And he really thought that tomorrow he would sit with the other boys, Dylan and his friends. And then the next chapter was about Joe, and Joe went to the cafeteria, and the place where he usually used to eat with his friends last year, excuse me, excuse me, he doesn't want to eat there, so he sits at a table, at the same table with Ravi, but at the other end, and he just eats like crazy. And remember, Ravi thought he must have been starving. He didn't eat breakfast, but actually Joe had breakfast. And remember, he had to have a talk with his mom about not pretending like she doesn't know him. And you remember why? Because she works at the school. So she's like I don't know if she's a cafeteria aide or a yard aide or what, but. And remember, she blew him a kiss, and then Dylan and his friend came over and were teasing him and tried to get him to blow her a kiss back. They're so mean. Okay, Ravi. The questions begin as soon as I step out of bus number 7A. How was your first day at Albert Einstein Elementary School, Ravi? My mother asked. Did you make any new friends? Do you have homework? Was the bathroom clean? How many other Indians are in your class? Asked Parima. Amma and Parima have been waiting for me at the bus stop. I could see them stretching their necks to find me even before the doors had opened. Amma takes my green backpack off my shoulder and carries it as we begin to walk toward our townhouse. I would rather carry it myself, but she insists. My teacher's name is Mrs. Beam, I tell them. Homework is just some reading, and the bathroom is fine. How many other Indians are in your class? Parima asks again. I think that's Grandma. None, I say. I don't tell her about Dylan Samreen because I know how Parima feels about ABCDs. As we pass the big pond located in the middle of our community, Amma points to it. Promise me you won't go near that water, Ravi. You might fall in and drown, and I've heard there are leeches, warns Parima. The wind is blowing their saris. Okay, that's like a dress. Let me see if it's in the back. See if it's in the, sari. Yeah, sari. Traditional Indian dress consisting of a long piece of cloth elaborately wrapped around the waist and passed over the shoulder. Okay. Sorry. Okay. They're blowing their saris. Let's see here. Amma holds onto hers with her right hand. Her left hand is still carrying my backpack. Did you eat your lunch? She asked. Please, Amma. Can we first get home? I will tell you everything, I say. I promise. Why can't you tell us now? Asked Parima. Did you not like the upama, Ravi? Don't blame me. Didn't I say it was too lumpy? When Parima wants to make a point, she goes on and on about it like the rotating end of an electric drill. Paripa has a trick for that. He wears hearing aids, and when Parima gets going on one of her long rants, he waits until she's not looking and he turns them off. Amma puts down my backpack. I can't believe what is happening. Right there in the middle of the street, she is checking my tiffin box to prove to Parima that I've eaten my lunch. A few kids walk by looking at us curiously. I bend my head, embarrassed, and stare at the spot between my sneakers. My glasses slip down my nose and I push them back up. It's empty, says Amma proudly, holding the box out for my grandmother to see. Parima sniffs. How do you know he didn't just throw the lunch away? Amma doesn't say anything, just shakes her head and puts the tiffin box back in my backpack. She and Parima got along much better when they didn't live in the same house. I reach over and grab my backpack from Amma, then run as fast as I can towards number 83. When we first moved to Hamilton Mews, I had trouble telling which house was ours because they all looked the same. But now I can tell without even looking at the number. Wait, Ravi, the door is locked. Paripa is napping and Appa is at the office, my mother shouts, running after me, keys waving. I wait on the doorstep until she and Parima catch up with me and open the door. As we enter the house, I close my eyes and breathe in. The air is filled with the smell of Amma's cooking. She has already prepared my evening tiffin, a plate of dosas and a cup of Ovaltine, the same thing I ate every day after school in India. Okay, dosas. Let me see if I can. I need to put dosas. Yeah. Dosa. Yeah. It's Indian, South Indian rice and lentil crepe. So it's kind of like a burrito. Okay? Except with Indian food inside. Okay, dosas. What I had every day after school, like a snack. I give her a hug and whisper in her ear so Parima won't hear. The uppama was delicious. Thank you, Raja, she whispers back. Okay, Raja, what's that mean? A term of endearment meaning king. Okay. Dinner is later than usual because Appa's train is delayed and he doesn't get home until almost 8 o'clock. After each bite, Parima complains about the food. The rasam is too runny and it tastes like dishwater. Have you ever heard of spices? Roshni? Oh my gosh. Rasan, let me see. Rasan, let me see if I can find that. Spicy lentil soup. More lentils. I think they're vegetarians. And I am not used to having to eat her runny rasam. Parima snaps back at him. Oh, okay, hold on, let me see. It must have been the grandpa. Let me see. Oh, I missed some. Okay. The rasam is too runny and it tastes like dishwater. Have you ever heard of spices? Roshni? I think that's her name. Appa comes to my mother's defense. Let her be, he tells Parima. Roshni is doing her best. She is not used to having to do all the cooking herself. And I am not used to having to eat her runny rasam. Parima snaps back at him. Did you know poor Ravi had only lumpy umpama for his lunch? I glance at my mother and quickly change the subject. Most people at Albert Einstein Elementary School don't bring their lunches from home, I say. They buy school lunch, which costs $2.50. Is it vegetarian? Asks Amma. I wouldn't take their word for it, Parima interrupts before I can answer. I hear their salad oil has lard in it. I decide not to tell them about the chicken fingers. Don, don, don. So yeah, they are vegetarian. Okay, now this is Joe's perspective. Joe. Mom is parked at the curb waiting in the car when school lets out. Her old parking sticker from Mercy Hospital is still stuck to the windshield. She used to be a nurse there, but she and a bunch of other nurses got laid off right before Christmas last year. After that, everything changed. None of the other hospitals around here were hiring nurses, so Mom had to go on unemployment and Dad took a job driving a truck route because it paid more than he was making at his old job at Walmart. At the end of August, when Mom found out Albert Einstein was looking for a new lunch monitor, she applied for the job without even asking me first. Hop in, she tells me now, leaning out the window. No, I answered, too mad to even look at her. I'm sorry, Joe, she says. It was an accident. Force a habit. Would a slice of pizza help make up for it? I shake my head. She broke her promise big time. 1,000,000 slices of pizza isn't going to make up for that. Hop in, she says again. No, I tell her. I'm walking home. Walking helps me think. Not that I really want to think about all the crummy stuff that happened today. Is it possible to have a worse first day of school? After my mom drives away, I hear someone calling my name. Joe! I turn around to see Mr. Barnes hurrying to catch up. I was hoping I might run into you, he says. How did it go today? I feel something hard swell up in my throat, and for a minute, I'm scared I might start crying, but I swallow a couple times and the feeling goes away. It was okay, I guess, I tell him. How do you like Mrs. Beam? He asks. I shrug. She's shorter than me, I say. Mr. Barnes laughs and pulls a pack of sugarless gum out of his pocket. He offers me a piece, but I shake my head. Sugarless gum gives me a headache. How's our old friend Mr. Samreen doing this year? I think about the name Dylan called Mr. Barnes behind his back the day he brought his pink hacky sack to school. The word my mother would wash my mouth out with soap for saying. He's not my friend, I say, and no offense, but I don't think he's your friend either. The world is full of Dylan Samreens, Joe, Mr. Barnes says, unwrapping a piece of gum and putting it in his mouth. The trick is not to let them get to you. I wonder if Mr. Barnes has ever seen the look on the face of a zebra who's just stepped into a crocodile's mouth. Thanks for the advice, I say. If you want, I can write it down for you, Mr. Barnes says, pulling a pen out of his pocket. The hard thing swells up in my throat again. Mr. Barnes knows I have trouble remembering things unless they're written down. That's okay, I tell him. And by the way, I like your new tie. I wonder if anyone in Mr. Barnes's class this year will memorize his ties the way I did. Mr. Barnes looks at his watch. He says he's sorry he has to run to a faculty meeting, but that I should feel free to stop by his room any time to chat. Hang in there, Joe, he tells me as he walks away. My stomach grumbles. I haven't eaten anything since lunch. I think about my mother's offer to take me out for pizza and get mad at her all over again. How could she do that? Blow me a kiss right in front of everyone. What part of no corny mom stuff does she not understand? Normally it takes me half an hour to walk home, but I'm not in any hurry today. Mia, my dog, is waiting for me at the door when I finally get there. She's so happy to see me that she falls all over herself, wagging her tail and trying to lick my face. Cut it out, Mimi, I laugh, pushing her away. Your breath smells like liver. Mom has been waiting for me too. One of her cooking magazines is lying open on the couch next to her. I can tell she's been crying because her nose is red. What took you so long, Joey? She asked. I was beginning to worry. Can we talk? I don't want to talk, I say. I go into the kitchen, grab a couple of oatmeal cookies out of the jar on the counter and pour myself a big glass of milk. Mia follows me upstairs to my room. I take off my sweatshirt, toss it on the floor, and shut the door. I'm starving, but I'd rather skip dinner than have to sit across the table from Mom after what she did. Dun, dun, dun. Poor Joe.